I've been shadow banned by YouTube, shadow banned by YouTube. Yes, I have. Yes, I have. I used to wonder if it was true, but now I know that it is true. I've been shadow banned by YouTube. Shadow banned for posting things against the scientific consensus. And I wish that line fitted better into the song I wrote for this video. Shadow banned by YouTube, shadow banned by YouTube. It's going to happen to us all, so get used to it.
Hospital Porter's Pride and Dignity, Stop the New World Order. Welcome to Hapanwo TV. And on this particular programme, I'm going to ask the question, have I or have I not been shadow banned? This is something I've referred to a couple of times in the last few videos, certainly. It's something I've suspected for some time. I want to get to the bottom of it. I want to get to the bottom of it by analysing pure, hard statistics to find out. But what is shadow banning? Now, shadow banning is something that it goes back from around social media, but it's becoming more and more common. And in this case, of course, we're talking about YouTube. I can't say for my other social media posts, which I don't consider as valuable as YouTube. My other social media platforms such as Twitter, Facebook, which I am on, of course. Now the banning, of course, or banning is when you put something on a social media platform that the platform doesn't like. And so what they do is they then take it down, they get rid of it, and then they tell you, they say, Ben, we don't like what you've written here, we don't like what you've made, we don't like this video you've uploaded, so we're just getting rid of it. There you go. And sometimes this is accompanied by some sort of penalty, such as a community guideline strike. And as you know, I've had some of those before. And indeed, it's almost impossible these days not to get community guideline strikes unless you're willing to make videos about pot plants and watering cans and tape measures. But I'm getting ahead of myself there. Shadow banning is different. Shadow banning is where no overt action is taken against the user at all. So nothing is said to you, nothing is done to you, no penalties, no nasty emails, nothing. But your presence on the platform is tweaked, your account is fiddled with to make sure you are less prominent. And this is done by, of course, reducing by various methods, of course, which is the most common, is simply reducing the amount of times you appear in search results. And it's surprisingly easy to do this because the search is the search function is basically it's taught to look for certain words. So, for example, you put in moon landings, and it'll deliver those results. And if you put in moon landings, you'll get all kinds of documentaries about the moon missions, for example. But what you'll do is the actual results are assembled in an order. So the order which they're assembled in is decided by the platform. So putting in moon landings, of course, is very vague. Moon landings could refer to various documentaries, it could refer to clips from 2001: A Space Odyssey, it could refer to other science fiction animation and things like that. And of course, it could also refer to videos like the Apollo detectives, videos claiming the moon landings were faked. Now the term moon landings, ideally it should bring up all those particular results randomly, possibly assorted according to popularity among the usership, among the viewers. I think that's one of the ways they do it, is to arrange things in order with popularity. Previous users have watched this more than others, or the number of likes or comments they get, things like that. The interaction, that's called. Now, what you can do though, if that system of ranking, arranging the results in a particular order, can be altered to make sure that certain things are ranked lower. So even though, for example, some videos, according to moon landings, the moon landing being faked, are as popular as some of the ones which are mainstream documentaries about how it happened, you can arrange it so that they're lower ranking. This means that they will not be seen so easily by someone just searching randomly under the search string moon landings. And that's what shadow banning is. Now, this doesn't apply. This won't. I mean, YouTube have made this excuse. They're saying we're not banning people. We're not stopping you using the service. We're not preventing you. We're not preventing people from watching your videos. They can be found. They can be seen. Yes, and indeed, if you put in moon landing hoax or moon landing faked into your search box, you know they can't stop you coming across videos like Apollo Detectives. They're going to be there. You're going to find them. But you have specifically to search for moon landing faked or moon landing hoaxed in order to get those results. Which means if you're less like basically you're less likely to come across things which are less, I suppose, less mainstream ideas for whatever subject you're looking for. That's the result of this. This is the end result of what we're talking about here. It's a very, very subtle and very crafty form of censorship. It's censorship, it's soft censorship, it's censorship light. It's, I can't believe it's not censorship. But it is as dishonest, if not more so, because there's the added, I think it's more dishonest actually than outright simply banning, because it has this veneer of respectability. It has this, you can attach these excuses to it. So it's an extremely disreputable thing that YouTube do and any social media platform do. The question is, has it happened to me? There's only one way to find out. I have to analyse my stats.
Okay, so let's examine my statistics, which is how I came to this idea that I've been shadow banned being confirmed. Now this here are my statistics for all of 2019 up to the current date I'm recording this, which is the 19th of November. Now I'm going to assume, for convenience's sake, that the difference between now and just over a month before the end of the year is not going to affect this. In terms of the point I make, it is theoretically possible for what happens between now and New Year's Eve to overturn this this analysis that I'm actually undertaking today. It is theoretically possible, that's the point, but it is actually beyond reasonable doubt that it will not. I think it will not. So I'm going to assume, I'm going to treat the period from 1st of January to the 19th of November this year as essentially a sample slice for all of 2019. I think that's fair enough, wouldn't you say? So you see, here's my statistics, and it gives you a list of various the figures, the number of people who are watching. You can see there are hours going down there already. But also the numbers underneath represent uploads number. You see the list of numbers there. So of course the number of uploads I make will be a factor, but and there is a difference between upload figures for last year and this year. However, I don't think it's statistical in this sense. But you can see here there is a slight decrease from early in the year to now. You can see this in terms of a qualitative way, just looking at the downward slope. It does look to me like a downward slope. Now of course there are several aberrations to that particular trend. For example, there's a couple of big spikes here and there. One in particular in late December coincides with my Storm Area 51 live stream, which was particularly popular. But generally I think you'll see it's a downward slope. So that is, I think it's safe to say, that counts for this year. Now this is the statistic vector for last year, 2018. Now this is a little bit misleading when you first look at it, because it looks very much like it's much lower later in the year. Because you see that the line looks lower than it is on the last one. It looks about half the height of the last one. But it's important to look at the scale on the right. As you see, the scale on the right is the number of views, and it goes from 0 to 4.5 thousand. See that on the right hand side of the actual graph. Now, if you go back to the 2019 one, you'll I won't show it. You can rewind if you want to. It goes between 0 and 2,250 views. So the scale is different. And the reason it's a higher scale on this one is because there was a massive up spike, you see, in the first 3 to 4 months of the year. It's indeed the actual up spike, the actual trend of popularity actually lasts right until it looks like the 2nd of May. Now, so you see there's a big bulge here in the first, just over the first quarter of the year. That was caused basically by the massive outbreak of troll drama, if you remember at the time. You can go back and check the videos if you want to. But that was the cause of that. Now, there's nothing really in this particular chart that's very revealing, and you might say, well, it doesn't really say anything about the general trend over the last 2 years, but it does, and I'll show you how. Now we go back to 2019, and I put asterisks beside the years so you can see what they are. And this is my audience breakdown for this period. This period of this current year up to the current day, 19th of November. And again, I'm going to treat that period as if it's the whole year because it's close enough, and I think for the point I want to make. So the audience, well, let's go to the bottom ones, the bottom two parts first. Now the bottom two parts, as you see here, is gender and the top countries. Now gender, as you can see, it's overwhelmingly male, 84% as opposed to 16%. Now that's actually changed. It used to be about 3/4 male. I'm actually more male orientated now. As I said in my UFO disclosure video from last year, history's been made. I don't think that's an issue, and I explain more in that particular video. Now the countries you see, primarily United Kingdom, almost 50% United Kingdom. Of the remaining countries, 17% is United States. Again, that's interesting, but it's not the issue. The issue is when you come to watch time from subscribers. You can see here that watch time here is primarily the most people who watch my videos are not subscribed in 2019. They are 56.4% as opposed to 43.2%. I mean, for some reason 0.4% is unknown. I don't know how they don't know whether it's subscribed or unsubscribed, but that's the statistic. So it's 56.4 to 43.2 versus subscribed versus non-subscribed. That's for this year up to the current date. And now we come to the audience figures for 2018, and you see some significant changes. Now I'm going to leave the gender thing aside because it seems that for some reason I've got 56.9 to 43.1 male versus female subscribers. I can't explain that. I don't know why that is. But if you look at the bottom right, you'll see that the audience reach, geographical audience reach, has changed. It's only 38.1% United Kingdom, plus almost as many, 32.9%. United States of America. So my number of American viewers now is almost as high as my British viewers. And if you go down, I mean, I've looked down through some of the other figures. The next is Canada at 4.5. It seems that I had a very, very wide, in 2018, I had a very wide international following. In fact, only 38.1% of my viewers actually are in my country of origin, the country where I broadcast and upload videos. That is the United Kingdom. With the exception of Denmark, my Facing the Danes, the one where I went to Denmark, all my videos are filmed there, and really, it seems these are where they're uploaded and this is where they're viewed. Let me remind you, go back to 2019. It says 49%, almost half in 2019 up till now, have been United Kingdom based viewers. It's been viewed in the United Kingdom, as opposed to just 38.1% in 2018. That means between last year and this year, my international audience has dropped quite considerably, and I'm getting much more views from, much more attention from British viewers. Literally almost half my viewers now are British. But now this is the really big thing. Look to the top left box, watch time from subscribers. This is a really dramatic change here. Not subscribed, this is from 2018, not subscribed 74.6% as opposed to subscribed 25.4%. Last year, 3/4 of my viewers were not subscribed to me. This year up till now, it's dropped to almost half not subscribed. It's just over half. It's still a majority, but you can see in 2019, unsubscribed watch time has dropped considerably. It's dropped quite enormously. It's dropped almost 1/4. Now, why is that? I don't think my content has changed in any particular way. I've not really changed my remit. There must be some other explanation. So let's see what that explanation is, shall we? And the answer can be found here in this area of my stats, reach. So this is for the current year up to the current date of the 19th of November, and you see here it's broken down very well here as a pie chart, and below there is a load of lines which give you it in another form, in actual figures. And you can see that 33% of my views come from YouTube searches. That's the biggest factor, that's the biggest feature, that's the biggest source by which people come across my material. They put certain strings into the search box, and these verbal strings then guide the user to the various videos that they want. The second is browse features. That's the second biggest source of my material, and that is traffic from suggestions that appear next to or after other videos, and from links in video descriptions. So that is, you often get when the video stops, you see a load of boxes there. That's suggestions in the actual video screen itself, which is not necessarily the same as the suggested videos at the side. And also, this is in feeds. That is subscription feeds, where you often get material that you're not subscribed to, and channels that you're not subscribed to in your subscription feed on your homepage. So that's it. This is based on what you've been watching before. So often, if I watch a video I don't normally watch on a subject, on a channel I'm not subscribed to, I will still find suggestions in my subscription feed on my homepage when I next go back there. That's quite a common thing. The third most common way people find my videos is from the channel page. That's 13.3%. So 13.3% of people watch my videos simply from my channel page. They're on my channel page already, and then they go to that. Now, suggested videos. 11.2% of people this year so far have found my videos from suggestions by YouTube. This is the important bit. 11.2% from suggested videos by YouTube. The next one, of course, is external, which is just from search engines external to YouTube. So, will we see the same thing last year? Let's have a look. Well, as you can see, this is totally different. This is 2018 reach traffic source types. Again, you have a pie chart and lines. Top of the heap, suggested videos, 42.2%. I think that says it all. The others, of course, browse features, YouTube search, their channel page, they haven't changed very much. External slightly higher, channel page a bit lower, browse features slightly lower, etc. And of course, YouTube search again slightly lower. But suggested videos, 42.2%, as opposed to this year, 11.2%. That's an astonishing drop. That's a drop many-fold. That means, unfortunately, that I have indeed been shadow banned. The suggested videos is the key thing, because this is completely YouTube's decision what they suggest, and they've decided to suggest my videos far less than they used to. Now, one of the reasons I suspected this was happening is I decided to check at one point. I do just have a look occasionally, not very often because it's not an issue for me. But I just looked onto my community status and I suddenly realised I was not eligible for monetization. This is very, very odd, because up until literally quite soon, I mean, as I said, I don't keep regular tabs on this, but I did wonder at the time, how long, whether I would be eligible for monetization forever. The reason I didn't check on it was really because I've never monetized my channel. I've always opted not to monetize my channel for reasons that I've explained several times. The inconvenience of ads, the fact that with my viewing figures, I'd only get about £5 a week, probably less now. It's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. So I decided not to monetize my videos. And I'm quite glad I did, actually, because it would just have been something they could then take away from me. Whereas at the moment, this is something that they can't take away from me because it's something I never opted for, which gives me a bit of control over the situation. And so, obviously, as you can see from this diagram, the only videos that seem to be eligible for monetizations are, on this little illustration here, videos about tape measures, pot plants, and watering cans. So, if I'm just out of curiosity, and as I said, it's not a problem because I've never monetized and I don't intend to. What is it about me that has stopped my eligibility for monetization? And does it coincide with when I was shadow banned? Now, one of the things I did, I actually went and looked, because they have a little tab saying, why is my video not available for monetization? And you can click on that and it gives you some ideas. It actually never comments on your specific case. It won't tell you why you've been demonetized, but it just gives you some lists of things they don't like for monetization. That is what they call ad unfriendly content, as opposed to advertising friendly content. And they leave it for you to work it out for yourself. And that wasn't difficult for me, because I probably fall under this particular category, which is controversial issues and sensitive events. Content that feature or focus on sensitive topics or events is generally not suitable for ads. This policy applies even if the content is purely commentary or contains no graphic imagery. So sensitive events are war and death and tragedies, and yes, I do cover those things. And controversial issues include political conflicts, terrorism or extremism, and sexual abuse. And, well, I have dealt with all three of those things, definitely. So that's interesting. I think that explains, well, it answers the question. But of course, this has not always been the case. Obviously, my videos were only removed from the possible potential monetization list quite recently. I know it had to have happened within the last year. So why didn't this happen earlier? Now, I also suspect, although I'm not entirely certain, that I have fallen foul of YouTube's hate speech policy. Now, this is quoted as, hate speech is not allowed on YouTube, and we remove content promoting violence or hatred against individuals or groups based on any of the following attributes, and it gives the usual age, race, nationality, religion, etc. And it has a couple of additional categories that I don't think were there before, and one of those is victims of a major violent event and their kin. Now, this is I think a key element, a key addition as a factor, which I don't think was there before, and I think this is the one I'm most likely to come under if I am indeed guilty of hate speech. And I say guilty in inverted commas because I've covered this in previous videos. Indeed, if you go to the link in the description box, you'll find videos there, and I don't need to repeat all the points I made in those videos now. But hate speech, to come fall afoul of hate speech policy, you don't actually have to say anything hateful. Hate speech policy, that is, the discriminations and things like that, and incitements to prejudice and hatred, etc., can be attributed to phrases such as, quote, white people are not evil, unquote, or, quote, men are not all rapists, unquote. I know people who say things like that, and they have fallen afoul of YouTube's hate speech policy, even far more than I have. I mean, some of them have actually literally had their channels terminated. So we are dealing with a it's a very thin layer of ice here we're skating on, no matter what you say. And I'm going to go into a bit more details about what I think, where I think I fit in within this dynamic. Now, of course, this list here, which is not exhaustive, and they can always add things on, is a list of various more specific terms of what actually constitutes hate speech. And I think the ones I've highlighted here with asterisks are the ones that apply to me. Conspiracy theories ascribing evil, corrupt, or malicious intent to individuals or groups based on any of the attributes noted above. Now, I actually have not attributed conspiracy theories ascribing evil, corrupt, or malicious intent to any of those particular groups. However, I have discussed it in commentary form. And I'm thinking particularly about my video simply entitled Jews. If you watch that video, you'll see that it actually doesn't constitute in any way an attribute of evil or malicious intent to any group of individuals. In fact, it's an attempt to analyse that entire theory in a rational manner. And so it can't come under that category, really. But I still talk about it. Unfortunately, the AI bots that YouTube uses are not intelligent enough to know the difference between commentary and promotion. So artificial intelligence is not that intelligent. We're a long, long way from deep thought, from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, that can work out the meaning of life, the universe, and everything. So this is where I think I might have walked into one of these invisible tripwires that are placed all over the internet social media sphere these days. Either that, it may have something to do with the drama. I don't know. It's I mean, as you can see from the 2018 viewing stats, I mean, from May onwards, my views pretty much returned to normal in that respect. So perhaps generating more drama would be a solution. Now, can I just say as an aside, we live in a pretty sad world where the way you get the most popular in this particular realm is to generate troll drama or to get involved in troll drama. It seems this is the thing that interests people the most, which I think is very, very sad. Very sad indeed. Anyway, back to this particular subject. I've highlighted another area here. I've highlighted another. If you look at there's an area I've mentioned further down, which is to deny that a well-documented violent event took place. Now this is the most interesting part, and I think this of course is where I am 100% guilty, because I have made several videos about this very thing, on this very subject, well-documented events which I do deny took place, or I believe I deny they took place in the way that they've been documented. Put it that way. I deny that 9/11 happened the way that we've been told it did. I don't believe that it happened in the way that we've been told it did. And there's several other events, of course, which I also question in that respect. In fact, I've had debates with Steve mumbling about it. Yes, don't worry, Steve, your Rua video is coming very shortly. And of course, there are other areas. I think this may primarily be related to the H word, which even if I mention it, probably the algorithms will pick it up. But the dreaded H word, the thing is just ring fenced from all analysis, and that you deny that took place. Well, that doesn't. I mean, I don't deny that the H word took place, but I believe in the free speech of individuals to question it. I think it should be subjected to analysis, as I've said in several other videos. But that's enough. That's if there's something in some people's eyes, and indeed the people who run YouTube, that's the same as supporting the denial of it. Things like that. But there's other examples as well. For example, that I think this was added on specifically probably to deal not just. I think it was partly the H word, and indeed I tell you what, this is why I mean by the AI bot, because there's people who have complained that they put up simple documentaries about World War II or about the bad guys in Germany, whose name I can't mention, the supposed bad guys in Germany. And these are completely politically neutral or even pro-ally in their stance. Yet they've fallen afoul of these algorithms. They've fallen afoul of the algorithms despite everything. So you can't even talk about World War II or the supposed bad guys in Germany anymore. You can't do it. You're not allowed to. Even in a neutral stance, or even in a critical way, you can't mention the bad guys in Germany. You can't mention anything to do with that particular period in history. That to me is Orwellian in the extreme. It really, really is. Another, of course, issue we're supposedly dealing with here is Sandy Hook and similar shootings like that. Now, this particularly affected Emlyn-Jones. I should say from the start, I am totally against the banning of Emlyn-Jones. I think I was completely wrong. He made a few blunders on a technical level, and I think this was the lawsuit by the people who claimed to be the parents of the people shot by the shooter in Sandy Hook. It was based more on that. It was based more on data protection, I think, than anything else, from what I've seen of it. However, of course, this is treated as a persecution for beliefs. Of course, that's how it has been portrayed. Indeed, there are many people who support it based on that analysis, that commentary. They're saying, yes, we're persecuting him for his beliefs because his beliefs are wrong and he shouldn't have them and shouldn't be allowed to express them. That to me is a travesty. That is a total travesty. How can you do that? How can you say to people that I'm going to deny you your right to speak, and say, but it offends us? Well, too bad. People have beliefs that offend me. I don't try to shut them up, and I don't try to stop them talking about it. as it happens, you know, I think we got a good reason to be suspicious of the official story of the Sandy Hook shooting. There's several other people, such as Jim Fetzer, Sophia Smallstorm, who have, I think, done a better job than Alex at analysing this. And as I said, if we keep quiet and we remain silent, it's not a very good way to show respect to the victims or the alleged victims of that particular shooting or any particular event. I think it's actually more respectful to try and get to the truth about what happened to them, and I've said enough about that in other videos.
There's no doubt, ladies and gentlemen, I have been shadow banned. And if any of you, maybe some of you know more about YouTube statistic gathering than I do, and you disagree with me, then feel free to say so in the comments box, and we'll go through those points. Honestly, if it turns out I've not been shadow banned, it will be a relief. It will be a big, big relief. But the fact that my monetization status changed at about the same time, I mean, my estimate is that I was listed. I mean, as I said, I don't know when my monetization status changed. I only check it every couple of months. But my estimate is that it happened early this year. Early this year, I said or did something, or something came to the attention of the YouTube monitors that my content deserved to be shadow banned. This has also come at a time when there's several other things here I want to go into. Now, as you know that YouTube have made some other changes to its terms of service lately, and honestly, it's changed its terms of service more in the last couple of years than the entire history of it. It dates back to 2005. Yet it's made multiple changes to its terms of service just recently. And unfortunately, your user contract means that they can do that. They can just change the terms of service unilaterally at their own discretion anytime they like. So they've actually said that they're going to possibly get rid of channels which are quote-unquote not profitable for YouTube or the user. Now, this has been defended as a way of eliminating spam channels and fake channels and duplicate channels and sock puppets and things like that, and clones. I mean, there are an awful lot of those around, I must admit. I mean, there are channels that literally just simply appear out of nowhere, and they have uploads and things like that, and they have all kinds of things. They have like something, they suddenly appear, they're only like, you look at them, it's really weird because they're like about 5 days old. They have 50 uploads, and each upload has about 3 views on it. As you know, immediately that's a spam channel, or it's a clone, or it's a bot, and things like that. And they don't like that. To be honest, I mean, this is odd because, you know, my channel was cloned twice. Well, it wasn't cloned. What happened was a couple of users, and one of them was called Bold VASD, and I haven't seen her for a while actually. But a couple of users actually decided simply to mirror my videos, and they told me they were doing it, and I said that's absolutely fine. One of them didn't tell me they were doing it. But when I found out, it didn't bother me because I was completely okay with that. Because I don't mind people mirroring my videos. That's it. I mean, as long as you don't edit them to bits and make me out to say things I don't, that's fine. But there are obviously a lot of spam channels around, and a lot of useless channels. There are lots of channels which, you see, as you say, are created by bots for the purposes for malicious or for profitable reasons, which break YouTube's terms of service. I don't have a problem with that. But what if, you see, not profitable could be expanded to, as a definition, to other channels. For example, channels that are not eligible for monetization, which means channels that are filled with the inappropriate content I've just been talking about, which include my own. We already know, as I've said this on previous videos, what they changed the recommendation change one, which is in the description box. You'll find the link there. They have actually said quite openly that they are going to change recommendations which disfavour, in other words shadow ban, reduce in the ranks, material which contradicts the scientific consensus. Which is, well, what is the scientific consensus? UFOs are swamp gas, climate change is caused by carbon emissions. So 9/11 was done by 19 guys with hardware tools. Opinions which contradict the scientific consensus are everything I do. I mean, it's really petty actually, because they've decided to target flat Earth videos. Oh dear. I mean, you know, I'm repeating myself here, but you know, I'm not a flatty. But the idea that you try to commit censorship on flatties is just disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I mean, where's the harm? Yeah. So they've recently, and channels that are not profitable now have the axe hanging over them, which might be enacted at any point. So we're like Damocles sitting there looking up, going, "Oh my God, when's it coming down on me? When's that sword poking its pointy little titanium tip into the top of my cranium and squeegeeing my third eye?" And that in itself, simply the threat of that, is enough to make people change their habits. There's certain YouTube users I've known who are extremely edgy, actually. There are people on, say, on the alt-right, for example, who reject a lot of the things I talk about and disagree with me fundamentally on a lot of things. And they've been hit even harder than we have, we in the conspiracy. But they now, the one person in particular has they deleted half their videos. They've started being worried about what they're uploading and things like that, and it's like got to the point now they're essentially doing YouTube's job for them. And a lot of other people, I think, may be affected the same way, possibly less dramatically and perhaps subconsciously. But this is going to affect people's habits. This is like CCTV. I mean, CCTV now in our world is not everywhere. But people are starting to behave as if it is. So even when they're not being watched by CCTV cameras, they're acting as if they are. It's like the mouse who presses the button, even when there's no electric shock, to give the mouse the electric shock in that famous experiment. The mouse will still not press the button, and it will still avoid that button, because it knows that there might be an electric shock coming from that particular spot. It's Pavlovian training. Essentially, humans are being subjected to Pavlovian training. The same training you use to train non-human animals. Now, the most recent change that had come about, it's actually happened just a couple of days ago. I was sent when I was trying to upload my last video, actually, the Lapis one, there was a big red box appeared on the upload screen. "Please go immediately. You need to take action." And I thought, oh my God, Jesus Christ, what's happened to me now? So I went to it, and they simply wanted to know whether I was going to designate various videos that I make on my channel as quote-unquote made for kids. Made for kids is exactly what it sounds like. Are you producing content that is specifically for children? Not just suitable for children, but specifically for children. This would be like the UC certificate you get in movies. Am I producing material that's specifically for children? And if I don't, I've got to say so. And if I am, I've got to say so. And if I am, then my content has to be approved. It has to be child friendly. Now, my material is, of course, not child friendly, and it's not that I use adult material. I deal with adult material in the sense of swearing and references to sex and violence, even though I do that. Although I don't do that. I don't swear as much as most YouTubers I know, but I do let the odd four-letter word occasionally. That's it. That's occasion. But you know, I don't talk. There's no material that I'd say is adult in terms of like pornography or something like that, or you know, soft pornography you get on my channel, or in terms of violence. I mean, I do discuss violence, of course, but the only thing I can do, of course, in that situation is to select not made for kids. So I did. My whole channel now is designated not made for kids, because I don't think any of my videos are. Some of them are suitable for children, but none of them are made specifically for children. So now the question is, what's that going to do to my stats? Well, as I was doing this, I realised I had no choice. I realised, I can't be dishonest here. I've got to be honest. But of course, I know that YouTube. What will happen to all users who do this is this will be another way of kind of shadow banning them. So what will happen now is my videos will become less visible because my channel is not made for kids. I can see the point actually where they just there'll be some option where you'll basically cut off from everyone except your subscribers. It wouldn't surprise me if that happens at some point. Either that, I'll just do away with the subscribe button altogether, as Dave Cullen has talked about, and then that because that's much more complicated, and he goes into that in more detail. But they'll just do away with subscription altogether, and you simply go according to your algorithms, like non-logged-in users do. So your algorithms, the algorithms will simply deliver you what they believe is the channels that you want, which of course won't be the channels that you want. It's the channels that they say you can have, and the two might not be the same. They may not just simply be delivering what you want, which is what really an honest social media service should be, politically neutral and simply cater to the tastes of the user. But they won't be doing that. What they'll be doing is that they'll be injecting these changes, these different tweaks to the algorithm to favour a certain political line. Which means if you have politically incorrect beliefs of the ones that I've just been talking about, as of course I do, then you'll be disfavoured. And you know, there's nothing you can do about it because it's all in small print. Your user agreement with them allows them to do that. Funny enough, this is not confined to YouTube. Just as an aside, the same thing that's happened to me on YouTube has happened to me on Herpanwo Radio. I found my Herpanwo Radio visibility has dropped. My listening figures have gone down, and even my listening figures have been fiddled with. It was actually Lisa of the Cry Freedom show who first noticed this. But she said, "Yeah, Ben, look, I was looking at your viewing figures the other day. They were like 50. Now they've gone down to 20. How can your listening figures drop? How can your download figures drop?" I put videos online and I go back 2 hours later and I find the download. There's like 5 plays and 0 downloads, and I know that's not true because I downloaded a copy myself. I always download a copy of everything I upload. So Spreaker are doing that too. Spreaker, the platform I use for the Herpanwo show, and I could say, well, I'd simply move on to another service provider. But that's like climbing up the mast on a sinking ship, because all the mainstream ones are doing it. As I've said before, the solution to this is going to have to be alternative platforms. I talk about this in the videos in the background links, in all of them, and I can only just say again that YouTube are shooting themselves in the foot in the long run. And I know they'll say, well, yes, but this stuff's it only affects 1% of our content, and yeah, maybe it does. But that 1% is some of the most interesting. And as the 2016 kicks in and the popularity of alternative views increases, what's going to happen is YouTube are not going to cash in on that market. As I said, it's very suspicious actually that they put this political agenda above their own profitability. There aren't many private independent organisations, yeah, they're private company, man, that do what they want. There's not many private companies that actually do that. Usually they don't remain working companies for very long in the free market, which means, of course, we don't have a free market. But what's going to happen is they're going to be left trailing in the wake of services which do feature that content, the banned content, and highlight it and even celebrate it. I mean, many of them are set up specifically by mainstream social media refugees as an alternative to what has been left behind. It's like a parallel society they've created without all this censorship. And at the end of the day, the internet is simply going to split into two. You're going to get Internet 1, which is where all the cat videos will be. All the videos about watering cans and pot plants and tape measures, which are ad-friendly. All the videos with the mainstream news, and mainstream, it'll essentially be YouTube TV. The idea of YouTube TV has already come about, that YouTube's going to be absorbed into the usual CNN, ABC, BBC 3-letter thing that we already have. This collection of like 3-letter propaganda tools of corporations and state-controlled media outfits. It's just going to be absorbed into that, and the entire World Wide Web will probably end up as part of that. But then you'll have Internet 2. Internet 2 is where you'll get all the interesting stuff. And Internet 2 is when, in the end of the day, as I said, the 2016 effect is going to increase this. More and more people are going to go there. The UFOs, the paranormal, the radical politics, the conspiracy theories. Honestly, on Internet 2, the only cat you will see there will be the British big cat and the other strange pseudo-cryptids that are wandering the countryside, and the people are going on the hunt for them to see if they exist. Those are the only damn cats you're going to find on Internet 2. Yeah, but the only tape measures you'll find will be those measuring the size of Bigfoot footprints, and the only watering cans you'll find will be. So I can't think of a witty way of including watering cans, but you know what I'm getting at now, don't you? The fact of the matter is, I'm not putting all my eggs in the YouTube basket anymore. Anyway, I do urge all of you to go to BitChute and subscribe to me there. I also use others such as Vimeo and Dailymotion that are more daily. They're more mainstream, but also they're very limited in the service they provide to free users is very limited. You have a maximum of 100 hours or something like that, which is not good enough. But BitChute is currently has no limits on its capacity, and it's free. It's basically a free speech YouTube. And so I'm focusing at the moment on BitChute because it used to be VidMe, but of course VidMe went, and well, I've done. You'll find links in the description box to my videos about VidMe. I've uploaded my VidMe content now to BitChute and YouTube. And BitChute at the moment, now BitChute's been around for now a couple of years. Unlike VidMe, it looks like it's going to stay. I mean, I can't say for certain what's going to happen. I mean, there are multiple different platforms that are emerging into this huge vacuum that YouTube and Twitter and Facebook have created. There's this hole in the canopy of the forest which it needs to be filled by free speech social media. And of course, there's lots of little seedlings now springing up, going towards that little gap in the where you can see the sky, and they want to fill it with their own branches and leaves. Of all those seedlings, probably only 3 or 4 will get there. We don't know exactly what 3 or 4 of those will be. We'll find out, but BitChute I think has a good chance of being one of them. So I'm focusing very much on BitChute at the moment. BitChute is a peer-to-peer system, so there's no like centralized host. That means you don't have to worry about urinating off the shareholders and things like that, because it's all peer-to-peer. It means it has a few bugs. It doesn't always work as well as YouTube does, but it's getting better. It's getting better. And I found out the other day from Another Blonde. Do you remember when I went to Newbury and I made that video with Another Blonde? My friend who lives in Newbury. She's the closest other fellow weirdo that I have, actually, that I know of. But guess where BitChute is based? Newbury. How about that? Its office, I mean, she's actually worked out, I mean, it has a public address, and it's in the building where the first Vodafone call was made. Do you remember the video I showed where the very first mobile phone call was made in Britain? Its offices are in that building. And I'm not, I mean, obviously, like, this is public knowledge. I'm not giving out secret knowledge. It has like a public business address for BitChute. If it didn't, I wouldn't give it out, because of course Antifa will go around there with their placards and their bottles of urine and all the other horrible things that they do. But that hasn't happened because it's a perfectly functional business address, so that's good. So I'm not giving out any secret information here. Yeah, BitChute based in Newbury. So I said to Another Blonde, I said, I hope you're proud of your town and what it's done. Because Newbury, it does seem to be like a centre of this sort of thing. It's just becoming like that. So, Pan Mode TV is not going away. Shadow banning is not going to stop me. And I mean, indeed, if you subscribe to me, you'll get my content. If you search for the kind of things I talk about, you'll find my content. Shadow banning can't prevent that, as I've explained. Shadow banning is just sifting the random shuffling of videos to prevent my video coming up quite as often in an indirect way. That's all it is. And it won't stop me. It won't stop people finding my content who are interested. If people get interested elsewhere, they'll come onto YouTube, they'll find my content, and YouTube can't stop them. In the same way, obviously, like I say, you subscribe, you'll find, if you subscribe, you'll find my stuff. So do please hit that subscribe button, etc., etc. Hit the bell, and like, share, subscribe, things like that. Okay, you know the rigmarole. But go to BitChute, please. Go to BitChute. You can find me on BitChute, all kinds of. Just go to the Herpanwo Radio blog. Sorry, the Herpanwo TV blog. In fact, I might even just put a link to my BitChute channel in this description box to make things simpler. If you go to herpanwo-tv.blogspot.co.uk, you'll see every single show notice. I have a link to my BitChute channel. My BitChute channel is Ben of the JR Porter, exactly like it is here. You'll be able to find me on BitChute, even if you don't go to the description box and click that link. But please join BitChute, sub to me there, because if for any reason I disappear from YouTube, which might well happen, that's where I'll be. That's where you will find me, and that's where I'll continue, because I'm not going to go away. I'm going to keep making these videos as long as there are cameras and computers for me to make them, until the New World Order is over. That's my plan. That's what I've dedicated my life to, and YouTube's silly shadow banning policies are not going to stop me. So there. Well, thank you everyone for watching Herpanwo TV yet again. Hospital Porters, pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order.
BitChute, BitChute, BitChute. BitChute is the future. BitChute is the future. A free speech video sharing site. To hell with YouTube censorship. Let them suffer for it. Let them lose business to BitChute. Free speech loving people come together. Free speech loving people join BitChute and upload there. We've got to go to BitChute, got to get over there. You can't put all your eggs in the censoring YouTube's basket.